Okay, so in the second video of the retake packet, we are going to look at naming angles. That was really something that I noticed we struggled with, was actually how to name an angle. So to name an angle, you will need to use 3 letters in order to do that. And the symbol for angle looks like just a little angle, kind of like that. The letter that is in the middle of the angle is the one that goes in the middle of the name. So let's look at a couple of just basic examples. So if we look at this one, notice we have letters on both ends, and we also have a letter at the vertex. The vertex is the middle. Okay, that is the vertex. So when I label this, when I name this, I'm going to do my angle symbol. And I can say angle A, B, C. Or we could say angle C, B, A. But that letter in the middle has to be the vertex. Okay, what's in the middle of the angle? Well, let's look at this one. So it's a little bit more complex. Well, let's look at angle 1. So this one's got a little 1 in it. So we could say that this is angle A, B, C. Or I could start the other place and say C, B, A. Either way. So I'm talking about this angle. So this part doesn't even matter right now. Now, if I want to look at angle 2, that means I'm going to ignore this, and I'm just going to look in this part of the angle. So I could say that that is angle CBD, or I could go the other way and say DBC. Either way, that middle letter has to be the middle point, also known as the vertex. Okay, so let's do a rotation here. And you are going to need tracing paper for it. So what I would like you to do, pause the video, read these instructions on how to rotate. We did a few of these in Unit 1. And once you have it rotated, I want you to play the video again and see if you have it done correctly. So if we rotate 180 degrees around the midpoint of AC, okay, that means I'm rotating around this point, okay, and 180 degrees, which means that I would do 1 turn and 2 turns. Okay, and now I need to put the new vertex, which is this one up here where B is, I need to label that as D. And then connect to make your triangle. Now, if you're doing the next rotation, you're rotating that same triangle, ABC, 180 degrees around the midpoint of AB. So this time I'm rotating around that point. When I do that, I go 90 and 180. And I need to label the new vertex, where C is, as E. And then connect our shape. So the 1 and 2 are just requiring us to rotate it. Now, look at number 3. Number 3 says we need to name 3 sets of congruent angles. Remember that congruent means they're the same angle. They would have the same measure. And we need to explain why we know they're congruent. since I need 3 sets, let's go ahead and write set 1, set 2, set 3. That way we don't accidentally forget one of the 3 sets. So, keep your tracing paper handy. Now, I'm going to put my tracing paper back over ABC. Okay, let's focus on angle ABC, which is this one right here, because ABC. So when I rotated around this midpoint of AC and I got that triangle, what angle is now where ABC is? So it's this one up here in the corner. So let's move our tracing paper. And how do we name that angle? Well, we would name it CDA. So let's write that down. We can say that angle ABC and angle CDA are congruent. Well, how do we know they're congruent? Why do we know that? So our explanation could be, when rotated 180 degrees, ABC becomes CDA. Your explanation can be that simple, but you have to include that you rotated 180 degrees for that to happen. You can't just say, well, I know they're the same. We have to be more specific than that. So let's find a second set. So let's go back, our tracing paper back. Let's still focus on ABC because we also rotated and created another triangle. So let's see what happens when I rotate around that midpoint. I rotate 180 degrees. What angle is now where ABC is? Well, let's move our tracing paper because it's this one right here. So let's move our tracing paper. So we end up with BAE. So angle ABC is also congruent to angle BAE. Now, our explanation can be a little bit different here because we're talking about this angle and this angle. If I cover this up, and I know that these top and bottom lines are parallel to each other, then this is a transversal. What do we know about angles that are on opposite sides of the transversal and inside the parallel lines? Remember, we can say that they are alternate interior angles. Now, if you're not sure about alternate interior angles and you're thinking, oh, I don't remember that, I don't really know, well, that's coming up as a review in video 3. So don't panic, because I will go over that as well. And then we need a third set. So let's go back to ABC. And this time I want to look at angle BAC, so the top part of that triangle. So I'm going to rotate it around the midpoint of AC. So I'm going to create this one. So when I rotated 180 degrees, where is that now? Well, it's this one down here. So let's move our tracing paper and see what our letters are. So when we move it, we're looking at this one. So angle DCA. So let's write that down. Angle BAC, which remember BAC was the top. When we rotated it, it became down here, which is angle DCA. So we could say, when rotated 180 degrees, BAC becomes DCA. So remember, your explanation could be something that simple, but you have to make sure that you include as many details as possible. Okay, so number 4, explain why ABCD is a parallelogram. So remember from video 1, a parallelogram has to have opposite sides that are parallel. Well, let's look. We have A, B, C, and D. So that's the shape we're talking about that I've highlighted. Does that shape have opposite sides that are parallel to each other? Will they never touch? So let's look. Will the top and bottom, if I continued them on forever, would they never touch? Nope, never would. What about A, B, and C, D? If I continued them on forever, they're never going to touch either. So that's our explanation, that A, B, C, D has opposite sides that are parallel. So, just to recap, in this video, in this video, we talked about how to mainly name angles, and that we have to include 3 letters. And the letter that's in the middle, the vertex, has to be in the letter of your angle name. Okay? Also, we talked a little bit about shapes and what a parallelogram is. Now, at the bottom, for independent practice, there are 3 angles that I would like you to name. Notice there's a 1, a 2, and a 3. So I want you to give me the appropriate way to name each of those angles. Again, once you have the independent practice done, you can check in to see if you have them correct. If you have questions, make sure that you ask.